As Brad Keselowski put the Penske Dodge on the pole for today's race, Kurt Busch in his Penske Dodge on the pole for tomorrow's Sprint Cup Series race, and the driver of that number 22 discount tire machine has joined us in the ESPN pit studio. Congratulations on the pole, and thanks for coming by.
Thank you very much. What an awesome weekend for Roger Penske. Wish he was here. I know he's watching at home on TV. Good to see you, Roger. But 2 poles, man, that's pretty cool. That's the first time for him. So
that's awesome.
Talk to me about what qualifying was like out there this morning. The temperatures are kind of cool here. I mean, it's 50 degrees, and that's as high as it's been all day today. This is a fast track. What was it like?
Well, it's very difficult to qualify these nationwide cars on the mile and a half, and I've never had a pole on a mile and a half. This is the first time I think I've even started in the top 5. So, you know, that certainly means a lot to me, and it shows just you know, how good this team's starting to come along. A brand new race team to go out and qualify on a pole, only 3 races in. So, you know, it's very difficult to do as a driver, very difficult to do as a team, and together, Paul Wolf and I seem to have got something figured out.
Brad, this particular racetrack, is it harder to get qualified here than any place you've ever been? Because the drivers tell me you got almost run wide open here.
Yeah, I would say Vegas and Charlotte are 2 of the toughest tracks we come to on the nationwide side for qualifying and for racing, because the groove is just so narrow and you have to be so precise. You need to hit your marks, you know, within an inch, and you're going 190, 195 mile an hour, and if you miss that mark, you're out of control and you're in the wall.
Last week, last lap on the green-white checker. You had a chance in turn number 3 to make things maybe a little more interesting than some folks would have liked. That's actually coming off turn 4. Going into turn 3, when you went down below Kyle Busch and Greg Biffle, what were you thinking?
I was thinking, I've got this one won. Yes. You know, I want to win races. We want to get Discount Tire in victory lane. We want to get this team in victory lane and start building momentum so we can run for this championship. So, you know, you're going to have to win races to do that. We saw that with Kyle. Won 9 races last year and something like 13 second-place finishes. Yeah. So to beat Carl, it's going to take those same numbers. So you've got to win races. You've got to be up front. So, you know, there's a time and a place, and I probably could have wrecked everyone and got the win, but I probably would have wrecked myself too. So, you know, you've got to be smart about it, and sometimes you got to take that 3rd place finish. And as much as I hated doing that, it was really important for this team, being brand new, to bring home cars in one piece, to build some momentum and get through this season, get it going, and then we'll get a little more aggressive.
You said something after the race that kind of intrigued me, and here's the move I'm talking about specifically. You said that, and I'm trying to paraphrase you a little bit, but your reputation, or maybe some things you've done in the past, made you think. Yeah, I know I'm not getting the paraphrasing right, so help me out a little bit.
Well, I mean, I need to run for a championship, and I'm not going to quit being aggressive, but there's a time and a place, and that was not the time and the place. You know, and that's part of being a smart race car driver, is knowing when it's time to be aggressive. In that situation, I was probably going to wreck all of us, you know, not only just Greg and Kyle, but also myself. So it just didn't work out. It wasn't the right timing, but you know, another day it will be.
You know what, Brad, you have fought and clawed your way up to where you're at now. I mean, you are in the middle of it. You're at the you know, the pinnacle of the sport in the Cup Series, and now you're coming back, you're running in the Nationwide Series. You're a guy to beat every weekend. But your aggressiveness, everyone's taking note of that. Other drivers, the media and whatnot. When you're racing in like a race today, when you run up on someone, do you have a mental note in your mind, I got to race this guy this way because he may race me that way, or do you have to take stock of all that?
I mean, I think you have to know who you're racing around, but I don't think you have time to hold grudges. I think grudges are really bad for you. You know, when you're focused on one competitor, you're not focused on 41 other competitors. Right. You know, 43 cars every week, so you know, you've got to be smart about it. You don't have time to hold grudges, but you got to know who you're racing. You got to know what they're going to do before they do it if you're going to beat them.
Gotcha. Talk about, Brian, you mentioned Roger Penske before, getting yourself acclimated into the Penske culture. How's it been different than where you were?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of differences, and some that are easy to adapt to, some that are just great. You know, I love doing this, and then there's some that you're just like, oh, I don't want to have to do that. But, you know, it goes hand in hand. You know, if you want the good parts, you're going to have to take the bad parts. So I feel lucky to be here. I feel lucky to be running full-time in both series. I think that's an awesome opportunity. I would have never thought I'd ever get that opportunity. So to be able to do that with a first-class organization like Penske Racing it's great. That's an awesome opportunity. So I take a lot of pride in that, and, you know, I really want to win that first race. I think winning the pole today was a big deal for me personally, because it set us apart. As you know, it kind of justifies, you know, the move to do this, to come over here and to start a brand new team, and knowing that we're already successful. You know, like I said earlier, it just shows, you know, if we're this successful now just out the gate, think of how strong we're going to be at the end of the year.
Well, Brad Keselowski is in our studio. He's watching on. They asked him about racing against you. How would you describe him as a race car driver?
Oh, he's aggressive, you know, and a lot of us have been, and I've been accused of it, of course, through the times of racing and growing up, but I didn't wreck everybody every single week. So I mean, that's a problem that I've seen with him. And whether it's a veteran driver like Jeff Gordon or Mark Martin or Tony Stewart that can maybe sit down with him and have a discussion. I've had that discussion with Stewart. It wasn't very fun, but I learned a lot from it.
All right, thanks, Kyle. Kyle starts 5th today. Should be exciting with Brad Keselowski starting 1st. Alan?
Double-duty drivers running both today and tomorrow. Kyle's among them. Brad is among them. You see the couple handfuls there that are going to run in the 427-miler tomorrow on Sunday, as well as the 300 miles today. So we got about 100 different directions we can go with today's pole sitter, Brad Keselowski, who's sitting here.
I feel a big target.
Let me take these way out, okay?
No, but you shouldn't. But a couple things. Running both series full time, and others who've done it before you, like Kyle, who did it last year. As you watch them do that, what flashed across your mind that concerns you about doing it this year?
Well, it concerns me. There's different concerns you have, and then there's different things that you see that you like about it. So the concern is specific to one weekend, and that is when we go to Sonoma and Road America. That one weekend right there is the biggest thorn that there is. Other than that, I think it's not a huge deal as long as weather doesn't become an issue. If we can go to Pocono and Iowa and not have issues, Pocono and Nashville and not have issues, I think it'll be smooth sailing.
Let's talk about this particular track in the day's race. I talked to you earlier about tricky turn 4. I mean, we saw some video earlier where everybody seems like they're having problems in turn 4. Cars look like they're just cruising through there. All of a sudden they spin out, they hit the wall. What's causing the problem down there?
Well, Las Vegas, like we said earlier, is a very line-sensitive racetrack. And to go along with that, you have to be right on the bottom of turn 4, and there's a lot of bumps up there. And, when you go across those bumps, if you get loose, you don't recover. You don't save your car. I watched Kyle's wreck there. There was a car outside of him that took a little bit of air off of him, and when he got just a least bit sideways, there was no saving that car. So it's a very tricky corner, like you said, and you just have to be smart about who you're racing around when you're in that area.
When you go down to that particular corner, sorry, Brad, are you really concerned about turn 4? When you think of other racetracks, do you think about that particular corner more than you do at other tracks because of so many people continuously have so many problems there?
Well, you should. I can't say that I have, but I am now. But, this track in particular, there's a lot of things that make it very difficult. The fact that it's the third race of the season, really your first true mile and a half. And in these nationwide cars, we're all just getting back up to speed, knocking the rust off from the winter. And, Daytona and California are nothing like Vegas. So, that presents its own challenges because we're just not quite mentally prepared. And, that light bulb hasn't gone off where we say, oh, I need to be careful here. So this is a treacherous track, very close to Charlotte, like you said. But the drivers are just still knocking that rust off, and we all feel like we can win. So, we're all trying to be Superman, and sometimes we have to tune it down a notch.
You got a tremendous opportunity, Brad, with Penske Racing to really, help be a part of a renaissance once again with Kurt Busch over there. Do you think too big a deal is made out of young guys like yourself getting into the new race car and then coming over and racing the nationwide car? They're not specific to one another. Do you think too big a deal is made of that, or do you think there's some truth to it?
Well, I think on different weeks it's different. I go back to Richmond. I ran 2 cars last year in the fall at Richmond. I thought, wow, that's going to be terrible. I'm going to really struggle because of that. And it was an advantage. I didn't see that coming. And then there's other races where you think it's going to be great, and it's quite a bit of a disadvantage. So, week to week it's different. And some weeks it's an advantage, some weeks it's a disadvantage, and you just have to ride the wave.
Gotcha.
You lead the field of the green flag here, hopefully soon.
It's getting dry.
On the pole today, starting 16th for Sunday's race. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks a lot.
Brad Keselowski going to start on the pole in that Penske Discount Tire number 22 Dodge.